because they don't know what it's going to cost. But they were on the record saying that wherever they wanted to do this, it would not be a major burden of infrastructure because that stuff is expensive to build roads, ramps, and all that. And they were saying this wouldn't be something where that would have to happen a lot. And the road 670 is not enough road to have a Major League Baseball stadium.
Well, what you would have to do is have a completely modern city way of doing it, which is what the Currents did on. They said, we did this on purpose. We don't have parking here, and we're not going to have parking, okay? Figure it out. Take the bus, take the shuttle, take the trolley car eventually, whatever. And that's the way you'd have to do it. But, Todd, all you'd have to say to sink this thing is, this is Kansas City. All you'd have to say is, there's not going to be any parking.
And it's over.
It's over. Over.
Yeah.
O-V-A-H.
People like the parking.
Billy Packer. This deal is over.
It's over. Over.
Right.
More Danny Klingscale coming up next on the program.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Hey, Kansas City, Joe Spiker, Easton Roofing, back for another beautiful springtime in Kansas City. We are proud to announce our renewed partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Kansas City. Starting in 2024, a portion of every job sold will be donated to a cause close to my heart. I was a big, and I encourage you to volunteer. And if you hire us for service on your residential or commercial roof, you'll know that a portion of the profits will go to a great cause. So call us at 913-257-5426. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
Welcome back into the program. I'm Todd Leabo.
You want a little music trivia right now?
Sure.
Danny Klingscale's here. Dropping knowledge.
This train kept rolling is obviously Aerosmith, and this part's live. Okay, and you hear this guitar lead? Mm-hmm. It's two studio musicians. It's not Joe Perry and Brad Whitford.
Mm-mm.
They just said, we want some cats who can do this. And if you listen to it, that doesn't sound like Joe Perry and Brad Whitford.
No.
It does not.
It's fake.
It's too clean. It's too, it's like Steve Lukather or something. Anyway, there's your
probably is
little
Steve Lukather.
a little bit of trivia.
Now I'm curious.
It's not.
Oh.
Danny, what about these Royals? They got a win yesterday. It hasn't been great. This has been a weird trip. But
yesterday is what's been the key to the Royals not having had a disastrous 3 or 4 weeks. They've just chipped in with that big one, series, no sweep, rally in the ninth against the Yankees. They've just had enough of those, 3 or 4 that, I don't know, they probably lost, 10 out of 15, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it could have been really bad. They could be on a horrible streak right now. But they've gotten that occasional win that has helped out. But they got to figure some things out. You look at them as up close as a observer of the Royals, and you think, boy, their offense doesn't seem so good. They've scored the 5th most runs in baseball.
They seem to score 12 or 13 runs,
right,
and then they don't score nothing.
And they do have, they have a problem right now because they've got a leadoff man with a 600 OPS. Quietly, Mike
gave him the day off yesterday.
Yeah, quietly, he's having a terrible season. And think of what Bobby Witt's numbers would be if he had a legitimate leadoff man in front of him. So they got some things to figure out. But
Hunter Renfroe's coming back today.
Yes,
that's good news for him.
We'll see. We'll see. He had started to get hot. Now maybe this sets him back. I don't know. So, yes, they have some things to figure out. But what they did is get themselves 15 games over 500. So they had a lot
of wins in the bank.
lot of leeway to still be in it. I mean, National League wild card, for instance, is a game under 500, and the American League
14 teams in it.
Right. So
when you lose 8 out of 10 and you're still 8 games over, you're like, okay,
right,
a little bit of buffer.
But
there.
They got a little key. I smell a bad weekend in Texas. I do. I hope I'm wrong, but the Rangers. Sooner or later, you would think they are the world champions. Mm-hmm. You would think they've got to play a little better. And Scherzer's pitching on Saturday night.
Well, that'd be Scherzer v. probably Waka. He's supposed to schedule the pitch.
I think they're both supposed to come back on the same evening. So, yeah, it's time to, and then they return home and let's get some momentum going back because they've generally played well at home. And, some of their play, MJ Melendez's numbers, for instance, are actually decent at home, which gives you an idea how absolutely horrific they've been on the road. So, Still in good position, though. Still in the wild card spot and with a little leeway, but a lot of teams that you figure are going to play a little bit better or can be transactional, can spend more money, are lurking behind them. So
I think this will be interesting to see because they played really well to get to where they were, and they didn't play very well for this last 2 weeks or something, but they were still had a little leeway in the wild card. Right now, I want to see how they respond.
Right.
It's like they're sitting right here on the edge of it, and everyone's kind of nipping at their heels, and they're leaking oil. This is what I want to find out, maybe a little something about this team.
Well, I think it's an excellent point because, let's be honest, in their heart of hearts, when the season started, I don't think these players felt like they wanted to make a step forward. People are always confident in spring training or whatever, but I don't think in their heart of hearts they thought they were going to be in a pennant race. And now they pay attention. There's social media all over the place, and they're going to get asked about it. And they're in a pennant race. We're getting close to July. I mean, the days are growing shorter from this point forward.
Thankfully.
From today forward.
Thankfully.
No, not thankfully. But anyway, so yes, I think it will be a good test for them. They have enough old hands on this team, I think, to guide the way. But they are in a position where this is going to be a learning curve. And one thing that's fantastic for them is they have one of the best players in baseball. And guys like this don't start to perform like this in baseball generally, except if waylaid by injuries, and just stop being good.
Yeah, he's
you
great.
Get to this point, you got 10 years almost guaranteed good performance. There's a handful of people you can think of who got to this level and were playing this great, and then 3 years later, they're no good.
Yeah, unless it was some roid thing back in the day.
Right.
That's not the case.
Like that.
I say this all the time. I don't know if you ever look at a game. Listen, he plays infield, so you're going to get dirty, whatever. Dirty every day.
Right.
Sliding, diving, whatever. He is like a kid in a candy store out there playing baseball. Plays with enthusiasm and all the stuff you want. You hope that lasts forever. Don't know if it will. But at this point, he just turned 24 last week or whatever. And the Royals have him signed for years and years.
This is like the best. This is not something to make fun of them. Royals have two of their most important players on their game are just baseball dopes.
Yeah.
Sal Perez and Bobby Witt Jr., they just love
want to play.
They just want to play ball. They come to the ballpark. They're just thinking about playing ball. They love playing ball. They love getting dirty, to your point. And it's like, they're like that. And that's a good – I mean, they're like the football version of what the NFL coaches and executives say all the time. We want guys who love football.
Gym rats.
He loves baseball.
Danny, I'm going to Boston tomorrow.
You are? Are you going to a ball game? You're going to a ball game?
We're going to a ball game Monday.
There's a million things to go. I can highly recommend the John F. Kennedy Museum. It sounds like just a touristy, tacky little thing. It's a beautifully presented thing. It's in a nice spot right on the ocean, and so I can recommend that. But there's a million. Just drive around. Just
beers?
Go 50.
They got beers up there?
They do. Go 20 miles outside of the city and just drive around in places like Concord, and it's just beautiful.
You going to go to Southie?
I don't know if you want to go
No,
there.
I'm not going there.
Although now it's one of these gentrified areas. So
I can find trouble anywhere.
You will find some trouble.
Have a great weekend, Dan.
Thank you. Have fun.
Yep.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Joe Spiker and his team are the best in the business for all your roofing needs, handled with honesty and craftsmanship. Visit them at eastonroofing.com.